Now she want a photo, you already know though. You only live once, that's the motto, nigga, YOLO.
Hello out there world, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Av. As always, this is your author, host, narrator, Dwayne Langham. On this entry, we're going to be talking about your motto in life.
You only live once, that's the motto, nigga, YOLO.
Yeah, of course, we're on YOLO Av, and YOLO is the motto. You only live once. But what I'm talking about is a little bit deeper than that. Where it all started for you in regards to where you got started in life. This is a misconception that's been posed to most of society that grew up in a poor growth environment. Now, before we dive in, I just want to clarify. In regards to a poor growth environment, this is completely irrelevant of income, social status, or even geographical location. What I'm referring to are the belief systems and ideas that were instilled in us as a child. This is your growth environment. So what was this motto that has restricted the growth of most of us as we're coming up as children? And I'm sure you've heard of it in one form or another. Before I share that question, I want to share some information that I once read. That your intelligence and knowledge base, especially in regards to finances and business, is directly reflected upon the questions you're asking. And of course, that correlates to the vocabulary you're using. At some point in most of our early lives, we're posed the question, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do for the rest of your life? Now, of course, on the surface, that's not restrictive or destructive at all. You'd think it stimulates your imagination to let it run wild and figure out what brings you passion and joy in life, right? While this question may be intended to spark a little inquisitiveness in life and kickstart your life planning, deep within, it's actually a very stifling approach on the mind, believe it or not. Of course, on the surface, it appears this question asks, how did you want to contribute to the rest of society and make your mark in history? The problem is that it fails to recognize or acknowledge the type of life you want to lead, which is of course a main priority. Now first, let's just look at the facts. If you continuously do it over time with no end goal in sight, you will eventually get burned out. The activity will become stagnant. It's just human nature. All work and no play. I mean, really, just imagine for a second. You've got that dream job or career even. You're making a good living or even a great living, and you're doing what you enjoy. It's commonly referred to as a labor of love. When you have joy and fulfillment in what you do, it's easy to do it well and frequently. But just keep in mind, when you change the dynamic of why you're doing it, you change the relationship with that activity, and it will eventually take its toll on you. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be days, months, or even years, but somewhere along the way, say decades in the future, non-stop effort, putting out your passion, you're going to need to take a break, stick your head up, and smell the roses, enjoy life, be around the people you love. This, my friends, is where the dilemma comes into play. Because you've gone out to see what you want to do for the rest of your life, eventually you get to a comfort zone where the lifestyle, the income you've earned is now keeping you working for it instead of it working for you. It's going to limit how much you can go out and enjoy life, how much you can enjoy your loved ones. You may have an employer that regulates how often and how long you can take breaks. You could be self-employed, have your own business, call the shots, right? The only thing with that is, it's just like a child. The longer you neglected enjoying yourself and reaping the rewards of your efforts, the more it's going to be affected negatively. It doesn't matter if you love kids, you like helping people, you're good with numbers, or if you're an artist such as myself. When you only ask yourself what you want to do, you establish limitations for the rest of your life. Does that career or passion allow you free time to enjoy your loved ones, to enjoy life experiences? Will the income that you earn provide for you and your family. Now, before it seems like I've turned this rite of passage into a doom and gloom story, let me tell you the bright side. You may have heard, the first step to finding a solution is admitting you have a problem. Before you totally give up on following your passions, I'm also asking you to consider, how do you want to live your life? Such a question forces you to evaluate what you want out of life as a whole. If you've never considered it, you can never yield it. You'll never have the goal to attain. Goal setting is one of the most common things of successful people that everybody knows just works. How much time will you require for what you want to do, as opposed to what you have to do? See the difference? What type of quality relationships do you want to be able to nurture with your spouse, your children, your family, friends, anybody you care about? What quality of lifestyle do you expect to provide for your family? Vacations, quality time, the finer luxuries of life, the homes you live in, and of course, the toys you play with, right? Even travel abroad, exposing yourself and your little ones to new cultures. Do you want your children to inherit your debt, your mistakes, or maybe the burden of taking care of you in the later years? Or will they enjoy the freedom to choose because they're financially secure? And on top of that, you've instilled them with the belief that they have the power to take control in their lives. Now, I'll admit, this is no kind of groundbreaking news. It's really just a shift, a pivot, if you will, allowing you at any age, at any point in your life, to really ask yourself what you're going for, what you're doing. If you haven't taken the time to consider the type of life you want to live, what you want to do for the rest of your life is almost completely irrelevant, because it's impossible. If you're only going out to seek the task, the work, the journey, but you don't have an end destination, there's no goal, what are you really doing it for?
Big white bee.
You would go along haphazardly taking whatever comes about your way, not feeling worthy even. Once you know where you're going and you have that goal, then you answer the question of how. Myself being an artist. Now, I can go out, sure enough, and follow whatever paths that take me down the road of being an artist and generating income for that effort. But what would inevitably happen in 5 years, 10 years, working long hours for someone else's project, for someone else's money? Meanwhile, my creativity, my ideas may be stifled. I may never get to do any original work. This is an example of taking a passion, but applying it as the goal. It's incorrect. Whereas, if I want to have a house for my family, for every seasonal weather, all along the nation, I'm a car enthusiast. Gotta have a couple whips to push around and show off. I love techie toys. Those things tend to be a little expensive. And I still want to be able to do my artwork, animate, draw, entertain, create content. Now, if I look at some goals like that, put them into perspective, I'm more likely to set myself up. If my goal then changes to set up assets, businesses, things that can generate the income and the lifestyle to attain my goal, then that allows me to follow my passion in my free time. What's more or less even at the root. If I follow my passion to stay in control of my creation and not just end up slaving away for someone else's dream, I get to be that boss cutting the checks. I get to determine the lifestyles and the goals and wouldn't accept anything less. My point is, living life by this different motto allows you to set standards for yourself. Then once you know how, you can go out and pursue that. This, my friends, is when you start setting off course to design a life, instead of being content with merely affording a lifestyle, or just getting by, which I'm sure you're all too familiar with. I mean, when you really think about it, ask around. Take even those you would take counsel and advice from. See if they've ever asked themselves. It's truly shocking. A vast majority of society has never considered what type of life do you want to live. And I'm not just talking about dreaming, I'm talking about included in your plans. Now that the question's been posed to you properly, I give you the challenge. I dare you to ask yourself, how do I want to live? And from this point forward, dedicate yourself to seeing it into fruition. Keep yourself on the path to reach those set standards and not simply meeting your needs. And with that, as always, it's been a wonderful discussion. I thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining in on the conversation. Be sure to leave your comments for further discussion. If you haven't already, you definitely want to subscribe. Be sure to like it, share it, tell anybody and everybody you know. Till next time, Dwayne Langham signing off. Wish you success. Only the best.
You only live once, that's the motto, nigga, YOLO.
Peace.